if there's anything I can say on this podcast that I really just want people to leave with is that relationships is absolutely everything. And I ended up running for president. I'm like, how the heck did I find myself here? The barrier to entry to just stand out a little bit as a young person is very low.
I agree with you.
It's very low.
Never been easier than now.
Never been easier than now. So how can young people, understanding that we have a lot of time left, but we don't have the experience, how can we make up for that? Mentors.
Every organism in the universe, it's either growing or dying. Okay.
These influencers, these people on TikTok that maybe are not the best influence, but nonetheless are influencing.
Believe. Ego out the door.
Yes.
How do I become as successful as you are?
It is what it is. We can't change it, but let's make the best out of it. So
welcome to another episode of the Transform Podcast. Extremely excited today. I'm here with my brother, Anthony.
Yes,
yeah, he would actually tell you more about himself a little later on, but I do want to remind you that we're here to help you and give you actionable tips on how to transform your health, wealth, and relationships.
I love it.
Without further ado, Anthony, brother, thank you for having me here.
Welcome to Valenzuela Group.
Yeah.
Our office is your office.
I appreciate that. Such a beautiful, beautiful place.
Thank you.
Yeah. I just want to get the audience to get to know who you are. Tell me a little bit about you.
Yeah, so, well, thanks for having me. This is great. I think the mission of your podcast, the name of it itself, Transform, just makes so much sense because there's so much value from the guests, from yourself, that I think can really change people's lives. And we're just talking about it before we jumped on that podcasts are great for many reasons, but if we can just change someone's mindset just a little bit, it makes it all worth it. But so thanks for coming on. But a little bit about me. I grew up in Miami, born and raised. Miami's home, 305 till I die. Just kind of gone through life always with an open mind of how can I be better so that I can serve more people the best way possible. That's always been my philosophy. Thanks to my parents. I got to give them credit.
Amazing.
And so it's always been about trying different things, trying new things. Life has never always been easy. But I think that's for everybody. Life's never easy. It's never, as you know, and we'll talk about it, it's never a straight line. It's always zigzags and things like that.
100%.
So I've learned, as you have done really well, is to adapt. I think in another episode you said you don't like to use the word pivot. And I agree. It's not pivot. It's just adapting. Whatever the situation is, okay, how can I conquer it? Because whenever you have a situation in my life, I've had many situations where it's, okay, I have two roads that we can go in. I either become a victim and, it is what it is, it didn't work out. Or I say, okay, this is the situation, I understand it, let's conquer it. Let's find a way around it. And so that's been my mindset, that's been my message as I go throughout life. I went to Miami-Dade College. Go Sharks. Dr. Cruz is watching. Go Sharks, baby. Go Sharks. And then from there, so I did 2 years Miami-Dade College, and then I went to UF. Beautiful. Go Gators. For 2 years, graduated last year in May, so I've been back a couple months, and now what I do, I'm a real estate broker. And my parents are brokers, and we have the Valenzuela Real Estate Group where we train realtors to not be good, but to be excellent. And so that's a lot of my time, and I'm also dabbling into politics. We can get into that in a little bit.
Awesome.
A community council for West Kendall. I live in West Kendall, and it's a little bit about me, but loving everything that I do. I can't complain. And meeting cool people like yourself.
I appreciate it, man. That's a lot to pack there in like a minute. So maybe break it down a little bit more for me.
Yeah.
You told me that all these things usually were coming from your parents.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So tell me more about you growing up. Tell me about the journey, the struggles. Yeah. Share with me some of that. Yeah,
it's funny because people see me now, recent friends, and when I tell them that the way I was growing up, middle school, even younger, even throughout high school, I was a shy kid. I wasn't really active. I would really keep to myself, go to school, go home, go to school, go home, and very just to myself, kind of just figuring out what I wanted to do, what my passions are. But then all of a sudden, I would say the moment that popped for me, that transformed me into somebody else and to who I am today was when I was in high school. I was a junior in high school.
Okay.
And I was, again, very shy, but the vice principal, the assistant principal of my high school, Mr. Ramos, I'll never forget, he saw something in me, pulled me aside, called me out of class and said, Anthony, I see you have a lot of potential. I see something in you that we haven't unraveled yet. And so I want to invite you to be the morning anchor for the high school. Because most high schools have the morning announcements, and they usually have students who do those morning announcements. So there was a vacancy, there was a spot that opened, and he said, Anthony, I want you to try it. And again, I hate cameras. I've never done videos. I have no experience, and I didn't want to do it. And I said no first. He asked me a second time. I said no again. I'm like, look, I appreciate it, but I'm just not interested. It's not my thing. Not being in front of a camera. I don't know how to do that. It's not my thing. Finally, he asked me one more time, and I did it just to please him, just cause. And so, long story short, I joined the morning announcements, started anchoring. I mean, high pressure. We're talking high school student in front of the whole school.
The whole
if you met, it's live. It's a high pressure. But long story short, I did it little by little. Started liking it. Started getting better at it. Started going outside of my bubble, outside of my comfort zone. Right,
amazing.
Transforming into somebody else, and that led to so many other things. Running for student government president, getting elected, commissioner. Like that moment was the pop of me for the first time ever in my life going outside of my comfort zone. So I'll never forget that. That was the moment that everything started happening for me.
Sounds like an incredible opportunity, and the nerves probably through the roof.
And crazy,
right?
yeah, crazy. The pressure was on.
Beautiful. So that's your introduction to public speaking, being in front of a camera, dealing with massive amount of pressure. Yeah. Take me to the next stage. What did you do after that?
So the next stage immediately after this, great question. From there, graduated, did my thing, and then went to Miami-Dade College, honors college. And for the first time ever, I learned what student government was. There was always student council in my high school and my middle school, but never interested in politics. But somebody introduced me to student government at Miami-Dade College and told me how great it is and that we represent the students and there's a lot of networking and events and things like that. And again, not my thing at that time. I'm not interested. But my friend was persistent, do it. And I ended up running for president. I'm like, how the heck did I find myself here? Out of all the things, right? Well, no, I joined student government first as a regular member. So I got my feet wet, I learned about it. And then the second year, my sophomore year, is when people came up to me like, hey, you should probably maybe consider running for president. And I was like, again, no. But they convinced me. I'm easy to convince, as you can see. It doesn't take a lot to convince me. And I ran, it's a campaign. It's very, flyers and social media. It's a real campaign. And I won. And that was another pivotal moment in my life that exposed me to a whole nother world of what is politics, of what is networking, of what is service, real service. And it was really interesting, Alex, because I got elected right when COVID happened. Like COVID happened and I became president right then and there. So that also was a very interesting dynamic because we didn't know like how to go about it. But again, two roads. Either you play the victim and use the card of, hey, it wasn't a great year, but it was COVID. So,
Right.
But my team and I were not going to do that. So we took the other route of like, it is what it is. We can't change it, but let's make the best out of it. So what did we do? My team and I hosted food drives on campus, mask distribution drives on campus. We also did a lot of town halls, virtual town halls, where our campus president, the dean of students, the dean of faculty, we would get them on a Zoom call to answer questions from the students directly. Never been done before. So we just made the best out of it. And so every journey I've noticed, Alex, and you can probably attest to it yourself, every little phase, every journey of your life teaches you something new, takes you to the next level, to the next level. And so I'm very fortunate to have good people around me that see potential in me when I don't see it in myself, but convince me to do it. Without those friends, I wouldn't have done those things.
That's amazing, man. Yeah. So definitely a lot of creativity right here. You are doing stuff that you've never done, learning new skills that you've never learned. Talk to me about the mentors, because you must have had people teaching you the weeds, right?
Yeah. So this is key. Something I tell people all the time is, and this is just the facts, it is what it is. Young people don't have experience, but they have a lot of time. Old people don't have a lot of time, but have all the experience. So how can young people like us, how can we, understanding that we have a lot of time left, but we don't have the experience, how can we make up for that? Mentors. Yeah. Because mentors are the ones that have the experience. So if you're able to find someone that you see them where you want to be, like you see that guy, that girl, and you're like, man, I want to be like him or her when I grow up. Try to have that person be your mentor, give you some guidance on how they failed and what worked for them so that you can double down on those things. So if your mentor tells you, I tried doing this and it was terrible, now you can avoid it. Right. The experience comes in. So now all of a sudden you're young, you have the time, and now you have the experience because of good mentors. Mentors are fundamental. Absolutely. And listen, I think there's mentors like friends. Like some friendships come and go and they serve their purpose. Same thing for mentors. You don't need a mentor for life. If you have one, that's fantastic. But sometimes mentors are for a season in your life that help you, that guide you, that mold you, that shape you. But young people need to understand that we need that experience. And we will have it eventually over 50 years. Right. But if you want to make it faster, you want to go faster, I think a game changer that people aren't talking about, something that's transformative, having mentors.
I couldn't have said it better.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you a story right now.
Yeah.
In my career, I everything that I have accomplished, to be honest, I owe it to my mentors. I have put in the work, but I've had a lot of people throughout my entire career here in the US to coach me into, because I'm always of the mindset that I get to any place that I work at and I say, who's the person doing it the best right here? And I go to that door, I knock on it, and I'm like, how can I replicate your success? Very humbly, ego out the door.
Yes.
How do I become as successful as you are? And like you said, that has put a rocket behind me and sped me through becoming more successful.
Here's two things that you said that make you really great at what you do and move quickly through success. Is that you're humble. You mentioned you're humble. You have to be humble.
You have to.
Here's the real one. You have to be coachable, which goes with humility. Like if you're looking for mentorship, here's the problem, Alex. I feel like a lot of younger people especially, they feel like they know it all. I know it. I don't need to, right? I don't need that. I don't need to take this class. I know what I have to do. Terrible mindset. Terrible. You cannot be transformative that way. The way to really transform is literally by being coachable, understanding that, yeah, maybe you're great, you're nice, you're fantastic, you got it going on, but there's always so much to learn. There's always more to learn. My dad, who's been in the real estate industry for 20 years, still every day is learning new things about contracts, about situations. The most successful people in the world are still learning single day. Like, so if those people are admitting that they're ultra successful and they're still learning, we definitely have a lot to learn.
Absolutely, man. Coming from a place of humility, it just allows you to expand and continue to grow
and to
forever.
absorb, 100%.
There's actually a great mentor of mine that's not a person that I know personally, but you could have great mentors in many mediums. He says that every organism in the universe, it's either growing or dying. You probably know who it is. It's Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins,
He says that if you're not growing, you're dying. So if you reach a point in your life where you are comfortable, I'm cruising now, right? I had a person in my podcast that said that you could be cruising or you could be drifting. There's a very fine line there, because you could be having fun and saying, you know what, I'm here now and I'm just gonna stay comfortable and get the people below me doing the hard work, but you're not growing, hence you're dying. You might be drifting into into a moment in your life where you're not relevant anymore because you stopped learning. So that's great. That's great. Why does it happen so much in young people? Why do we have such a challenge with saying that person is ahead of me, let me go to them, rather than having this mindset of like, I know it all. Who cares about what they have done? I'll do my own thing. Why does that happen in young people?
That's a fantastic question. I think there's a lot of different factors, and I'll just speak on experience of what I've seen, what I've heard. Well, I think it depends a lot of who these young people are looking up to nowadays. These influencers, these people on TikTok that maybe are not the best influence, but nonetheless are influencing. Maybe not for the better. And so I think that might have a factor. And certainly I would argue even maybe not having such of a strong family presence at home must be a factor. It must be. I feel like more traditional older people had that really strong family. I feel like society back then was a lot more focused on family, the nuclear family. But now it's become very loose, right? I don't want to generalize people because that might be the case, but it may be something of that. And it's just unfortunate, right? Because and this kind of goes to my point, Alex, of the barrier to entry to just stand out a little bit as a young person is very low.
I agree with you.
It's very low.
Never been easier than now.
Never been easier than now. If you want to stand out a little bit, all you have to do is a bare minimum. If you want to stand out a good amount and be like that girl, that guy is sharp, you got to try a little bit harder, but it's not even that much. We're not asking for a lot. Give a good handshake, be respectful, be on time, dress professional. Just that, without even doing anything crazy, you're already going to stand out because the barrier to entry for young people is so low, unfortunately.
And that's the bad thing about having this minimum expectations all throughout, your growth as a young adult. So tell me about that, because, man, I think that this thing that we're doing in society with, I have children, as you know, right? 9 and 10 years old. I have such high expectations from these kids. I mean, I'm not the parent that goes like, I need straight A's and that type of stuff. That's not what I mean. But my expectations are, you have to have great relationships. You must have great respect for the people that you serve and the people that serve you, your teachers, the people that take care of you when we're not taking care of you.
Yeah.
You have to do your best as far as extracurricular activities. My boy is doing jiu-jitsu, and he cries and whines sometimes because he doesn't want to go. But no, you committed to this, and you're going to stick to this now. You're going to do it until you master it, right? So I think parenting definitely has a lot to do with this thing, but there's got to be more, because I don't understand it. As an employer, I'm employing people now, and I see it all the time. Like, we get young individuals with a ton of potential. It's not lack of potential at all, but it's just that they don't want to do it. To me, from my perspective, it feels that they're just okay with the minimum amount of effort, and they still feel a level of success somehow, which I cannot relate to that. But what's your impression on that?
Yeah, that's why the barrier is so low, and it's so unfortunate. But here's the good thing about it, is that can be changed. Through conversations like this, their mindset can be transformed to now think like the way we're thinking, at least, which I think it's pretty right on, which is work really hard, be the best version of yourself that you can be. I think someone told me once, like, whatever has your name on it, it was like something like homework, it was silly, but I applied it to everything in life. Anything that has your name on it, you got to give it 100% effort. It's your name that we're talking about, right? If it's a piece of paper, if it's your reputation, that's all you have. And so I just don't understand, we got to work hard. We got to do it. But I feel like a lot of people now don't want to work hard, but yet want the rewards of work. Right. They want the success. But one has to be with the other. Work hard only gives you success, not the other way around. Yeah. So we'll see. But I think conversations like this, the work that you're doing in our community, Alex, it's really going to get people motivated, because you serve as an inspiration. You're a young professional. People look up to you, and I can attest to it. Like, if I see you doing it, it gives me confidence that I could do it too, because you're doing it. So it's like these conversations, man. It's what has to be done. So I think we're doing a good job.
Awesome. So Miami-Dade is done.
Miami-Dade is done. UF is done.
You did all this thing. Schooling is done. You go into doing other pursuits, employment, doing work, being a critical component in the community. Tell me about that time.
Yeah. So when I left UF, especially because in UF I was also involved again in student government and different organizations, I discovered that my passion is really with people. I like being around people, and so real estate works perfectly, because it's a people business. It's a people business. So right now, with the brokerage, with the realtors that we have here in our office, and I love it. I love it. I've learned a lot to be very patient in certain situations. So I've learned a lot of soft skills and hard skills through my work as a real estate broker. And at the same time, I'm also in politics. I work for a school board member doing his social media, and Robert Alonso for the school board, and he's been fantastic because he brings me into a lot of meetings and conversations. So I've learned a lot from the school board perspective on the administrative work. And then I was appointed last year, I don't know if you know him, Commissioner Rob Gonzalez from Miami-Dade County. Young guy too. I think the youngest guy on the commission. He appointed me to serve on what's called Community Council, and it's super cool. So
number 11, right?
Number 11, that's right, West Kendall, baby. And it's fascinating for anybody who's interested maybe in politics. So Miami-Dade County quickly has areas that are unincorporated, like Kendall, Westchester, unincorporated. There's no mayor of Kendall. There's no mayor of, right? But then there's incorporated areas like Doral and Coral Gables, Homestead are incorporated cities. And so in early 2000s, the county commissioners said, okay, let's create something called Community Council, and it's only for areas of unincorporated Miami-Dade County. And this board of 7 people per area, they represent the area that they're in. So for example, West Kendall, where I live, has its own community council. It's 7 people, myself included. And it's fascinating because there's 2 ways to get on the community council. Either you get elected, you're on the ballot and people have to vote for you like a regular politician, or you get appointed if there's a vacancy. I got appointed because there was a vacancy, but I now have to run in August this year. I have to run. So that'll be fun. But the work that we do is really important and super fun. Because our main job, Alex, is anything and everything zoning for my district.
Awesome.
So for example, Lennar wants to come into West Kendall and build 200 units. They have to present their application before my board, and we look at all the facts, we look at the code, maybe residents are for it, against it, they can speak their minds at the meetings, and then we vote yes or no.
Wow.
And it's final. It's not an advisory board, it's final, it is what it is. or maybe restaurants that want to come, or businesses that want to come into my district, and they want an exception to the code. For example, we have one right now, First Watch, which is a great breakfast spot that's coming to West Kendall. They want an exception to allow liquor to be sold at their restaurant starting at 7 a.m. instead of the 8 a.m., which is a code.
Okay.
And so that's something that we have to look at and decide if that's good for our community or not, good for the business or not. So things like that.
7 a.m., man. Having mimosas at 7 a.m.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's wild.
That's amazing, man. But
it's very cool. A great way to stay in touch with the community.
Yeah.
To serve the community. I love it. It's fantastic.
So you told me you were appointed. With the help of
Robert, Commissioner Gonzalez.
So tell me about relationships. Tell me what that has done for you.
If there's anything I can say on this podcast that I really just want people to leave with, is that relationships is absolutely everything. As you know it very well. You know it very well. Relationships are everything. Your network is your net worth. Period.
Grant Cardone,
right there. It's it. Because it's just relationships are everything. Like I look back at my life and try to connect the dots and see how I got to certain positions. And like you said, you have to do the work, like yourself. You got to do the work. Yeah. But there's a lot of credit to be given to other mentors and people.
1,000%.
1,000%. And so if I didn't establish those relationships, like with Commissioner Gonzalez, when he got appointed, I became really friendly with him. Anything you need, I'll help. You got to see him and talk to him at different networking events. And then when the opportunity presented itself for him to appoint somebody, he automatically thought about me because I was fresh. I was in his mind. Yeah. Relationships. If I maybe decided not to go to his networking event that he was hosting, his cafecito with the commissioner, if I decided not to go to that event all the way in Bay 13 and as far as Kendall to Corey, if those things, those sacrifices we make that maybe seem uncomfortable, if you don't make them, then you miss opportunities like this. And so every opportunity I get to go somewhere, I always think, man, like I really don't want to, honestly, but who knows what can come from this?
Absolutely.
Like if I stay home, 100% nothing's going to happen. But if I go, nothing may happen, but there's a chance that something can happen. Somebody recommends me, somebody who wants to buy a house, there's $20,000. Somebody who wants to recommend me for some kind of board, who you never know.
Amazing, man.
Relationships are absolutely everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
I could vouch for that. As a matter of fact, I think I've told this story now 20 times already.
Yeah, every episode.
Because there's this point of connection that everybody has. Their story, right? Everybody's story is different. But there's points where the stories connect. And relationships is one of them. In 2020, it's when I heard the word networking for the very first time, believe it or not. I had been in the industry for years and years, but I had never gone out and spoken to people. I was always, happy in my little cubicle and
go home,
not doing much.
Work home.
And then I was introduced to this world, and my entire life changed. From the reach that I have now with the people that I know, the leverage, like you mentioned, like so many opportunities that are being left on the table if you just don't go to events, get to know people. Like my boss says all the time, like go shake hands and kiss babies, right?
Kiss babies.
And it's important. It's important because it creates awareness of who you are in the community. It develops trust on your character because they see you everywhere. Hence, you must be doing something well. And then it introduces you to this whole new world where connections just become, part of your life. Like you and me now, we just are formally, like I think I followed you on LinkedIn for what?
For a while.
A year or more. But we're actually connecting and creating an actual relationship today via this medium.
And if I can give, I just thought real quick, if I can give your listeners any advice, because I'm sure you know this very well, but maybe somebody out there, this might be, because I'm all about practicality. And that's why I love your podcast, Alex, because your guests and yourself are very practical.
Right.
Because there's a lot of podcasts that are very, you could do it raw, and you feel good for maybe 2 hours, and then you forget about it. Here's something practical. Because we're talking about networking and how great it is, but we have to remember that when we first started, it's hard.
Right,
it's
really hard.
We can never forget. We can never forget it. It is challenging. And here's something that, now looking back, I think it's a practical advice and will totally help you. And this is more of a mindset shift.
Yeah.
Here it is. The key to networking is not trying to be the most interesting person in the room. It's trying to be the most interested person in 100%. The room. Because what happens when you think about networking, you're thinking, okay, how can I stand out? How can I be the attention on me, the center, right? And it's okay to think that. It's normal to think that, right? Because it's not that. It's about being the most interested. Here's what I mean. If you go up to somebody who you don't know or you know at a function, at a networking event, and you automatically start being the most interested person in that conversation, for example, asking the other person questions, how's your family, how's this, asking them, people love talking about themselves. So if you get them talking about themselves, that conversation, they're gonna love it. That's all that matters. Yeah. That the other person you're talking to loves the conversation. But if you do what most people I see do of trying to be the, I do this and I do that, and like reading their resume out, the other person didn't hear it, and the little bit that they heard, they don't care. You have to be, networking is strategic. It's not just going out there to see what happens. It's understanding the human nature that people love talking about them.
Absolutely.
They don't really care too much about you, generally, right?
Yeah,
and so that's the strategy that I use is how can I prepare questions in my head, I'm not looking at him, but to ask that person that's gonna keep them interested, keep them wanting to talk to me. Here's a second practical tip. If you're able to find a list of people that are gonna be at that event, fantastic. Sometimes it's available, sometimes it's not. But if it is available, and you know Brittany Bassan is going to that chamber event, that does one of two things. One, now you have time to look her up and to know things about her. For example, if she went to UF, which she didn't, I wish she did. But if she's a Gator, I love Gator. Then when you meet Brittany for the first time, instead of saying what usually people say, hey Brittany, nice to meet you, I'm so-and-so, you're gonna start off the conversation with, go Gators. Brittany loves you already.
Instant connection, yeah.
And you got to find things that are relatable to people. Again, it's about them. It's not about you. It's about them. So if you're able to know ahead of time who's going to the event, it, number one, allows you to research the people you're interested in, and two, it allows you to go directly to those people instead of like awkwardly walking around. Like you already know. It's strategy, Alex.
Yeah. Like everything
it's
in
strategy.
life.
Strategy.
Dude, that's so actionable, right? This is something you can implement immediately.
Immediately.
I would highly recommend you do what he just said, because it's, believe it or not, I maybe not be able to articulate it in the way that you did, but that's exactly what I've done, and that's why my network has grown so much in a year and a half.
So fast.
Because I concentrate on giving value, and sometimes listening. It's giving value, right? I see all these card exchanges happening all the time. I don't even bring business cards to the events that I go to. I have my business card on my phone. Like, you need my business card? Let me send you a text with my information. Yeah. Because it's not about me. It's not about what I do. Who cares about that, right? You care about who I am as a person, and then you'll consider doing business with me at some point in the future. Right. So why would I say, hey, I'm a banker with this and X and so bank. Yeah. What do you do?
Because 10 people have already said that. Yeah. 10 bankers before you already said that.
And it becomes a transactional conversation.
Yes.
What is the transaction here? The exchange of cards. The moment those cards have been exchanged, transaction has been completed, and each of you go separate ways. So why would you do that? Yeah. You know, tell me about you. Tell me about. Forget about what you do. Yeah. Yeah. What do you do for fun? Like, what's going on this week? Like, what
pickleball and this and that, like that.
That's the way it should be, right? That's the way it should be. Awesome, man. So tell me what the future holds for you.
Ooh, so I think.
We're early, right?
We're early here. But you know what's funny about life is that I've always had a vision, a plan, and then it ends up being the total opposite for the better.
Yeah,
thankfully,
for sure.
Thank God, right? For the better. And so I have my plan, but I don't know if it come back in 5 years and we'll see if it happened. But at least my plan for now, and we'll see, where things line up. But I'm certainly interested in continuing to grow the family business, the brokerage, just expand, be as powerful as we can, and try to help as many people as we can. And so that's first, that's priority right now. And then also in the near future, nothing soon, maybe in 5 years around there, maybe now take another run for maybe political office, maybe something else locally here.
Ideally, that's what.
Ideally, yeah. I think that's where my passion lies. And I've done a lot of speaking engagements with Brittany, and it's fantastic because Brittany, from what she's shared with us publicly, right, and that I know of, she's not interested in the political world. She's just interested in what she does, being very active in the community. And so it's interesting because she and I are a great example. I want to help the community through politics, and Brittany doesn't want to necessarily go into politics, at least not now, but still she can really help the community. So that's a big misconception that I want to share with everybody, is that you don't need to be in politics to make a difference. I mean, you're making a difference and you're not in politics. I just happen to really enjoy the political process and all that. So that's my avenue of helping people.
Awesome.
But it certainly doesn't have to be. Like you're a great example of that, Brittany also. So
shout out to Brittany.
Shout out to Brittany.
Brittany's awesome. Brittany's awesome. As a matter of fact, when Brittany and I met, I used the same approach as you said.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I just remember about that.
Yeah.
We were meeting in one event from United Way, I believe.
Yeah.
And I stopped her in the middle of the room and I said, as a matter of fact, I follow you on LinkedIn and I noticed that you like this, and that.
Yeah. Instant connection.
I think it would be awesome to connect. And I think she spent most of the night with me that night.
That's awesome, man. Yeah.
Brittany's awesome. So tell me, you mentioned that what brought you to real estate, obviously the family business, the connection with people. But now that you're working in it, what do you enjoy aside from these two things?
In real estate, what I enjoy?
In real estate.
So for me, I always tell people, Alex, I think it's just so important for people to have their why figured out. Why do you do what you do? If you don't have that at the foundation, everything else is going to come out a little bit crooked because your why is not strong. It's literally the foundation. So as far as real estate, my why is that I take it with such honor that people hire me to deal with their largest transaction in their lives.
For sure.
We're both in that world where we understand that real estate for many people, I'm on the residential side, but even commercial too, but residential for sure, you have people who have saved up money their entire lives, work 2-3 jobs at a time to be able to purchase the American dream, which is to buy a house. And they're trusting me to help this transaction happen.
Big responsibility.
Wow, like that's a big deal. That's why I tell our realtors all the time is you're not just a realtor. Just because everybody's a realtor, because there's a lot of realtors out there, it doesn't diminish the power you hold. It's an incredible responsibility. And so for me, that responsibility of helping a family, sometimes there are maybe divorces and sticky situations, move out from that phase and into a new home that represents change in their lives, and I'm in charge of that.
What an honor.
What an honor. And so my why is there. That's my why. That's my why. Is helping people to do the best job to find them something that they're going to be happy about. And so my why is so strongly rooted in that's why I love this. And not every day is easy.
Oh, no.
There's transactions that go left and south and things that don't plan out, and it's stressful, it's hard. But I just love it so much that even those days, I'm with it. I'm still with it. And I think that's so important, right? Like you're so good at what you do, I think, because your why is also, you understand it.
It comes from the why. You said it perfectly, because then when all these distractions or curveballs come at you,
if you're like,
miss that, like who cares?
Because if your why is not strong and those distractions come, they're gonna hit you and you're gonna fall back.
Right. You're gonna be like, oh, maybe this is not.
Maybe it's not for me. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome,
so I love it.
Tell me about a misconception that you have heard on real estate.
On real estate, so a misconception from a realtor perspective is that a lot of realtors think it's really easy to do real estate as a career. And I think that may be due to like reality TV shows out there that are now becoming popular, that it's, these models selling houses and it's super easy, 30-minute show, and it's like, wow, they just made $1 million. And so I think the misconception is that it's really easy because, again, also to be a realtor, you don't have to go to college. So there's these little things that people might say, oh, it can't be that hard. And it's not rocket science. I agree, it's not terribly hard, but to be a good realtor, not even excellent, just to be a good realtor, it takes time. It takes work. You have to understand the contract. I mean, if you're representing someone, Alex, with their largest transaction ever in their lives, you have to know the contract inside and out. You have to know the process inside and out.
For sure.
And so a lot of people join many brokerages, and they think it's easy, and they're there with the brokerage with their license for a couple months, and they see that they're not making any money, right? Because being a realtor, you're an entrepreneur. There's no steady income. You're not on salary. So if you don't produce, if you don't make money, you're not making money. You don't eat. And so that's a big misconception. A lot of people think it's easy, and so they get into it. They realize, oh shoot, I could be sued and liable.
Right.
Yeah, maybe not.
So what do you think the hardest thing in real estate is? Aside from the fact that you don't have an income, the fact that it takes a while to build these relationships.
Yeah.
What do you think the biggest challenge that makes the most people get out of the business? From your perspective.
You're gonna love it because it goes back to exactly what we're saying, but it's also very true. I think the hardest thing about being a real estate agent is getting the business, getting the leads. That's the hardest part. Because once you have the client, like here at the Valenzuela Group, we have a checklist. Like we guide you by the hand. Like if you bring the client, the deal's gonna happen. So that's easy. We'll help you. We'll make it happen. It's the getting the client part that's hard. You have to have relationships. You have to be out there. Like if you're a realtor, we tell people the top producers are not here in the office. Here in the office, there's a couple people here. They're all realtors. There's nobody here who's a client. The top producers that are out in the street. They have their keys in one hand and their purse in the other hand, and they're driving around.
Right.
They're going to chamber events. They're going to United Way. They're going to this. They're going to Chamber South, and networking, letting everybody and their mom know that you are a realtor. And through that method, through social media to networking, calling your contacts, hey, you might not need a house, but if you know anybody, the point of contact, what we were talking about before we recorded, if you know someone, refer them to me. I'm a professional. I got it. Like, that's the hard part, but that's how to do it.
Yeah.
That's how to get leads. You have to get leads. So that's the hard part.
So he just described like 5 or 6 ways to get lead magnets.
Boom.
Go network, go out,
Call people.
social media, call people.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And you know what's
incredible amount of value.
when we tell people, call people like your contact list. Usually people have a pretty lengthy contact list because
Yeah.
you've had it for years. And so we tell people, call your contact list, and then we check up on them a week later, and we ask them how many people did you call, and they say like something like 30, and we go through it deeper and like, okay, what 30? Oh no, like really close friends.
Yeah.
No, it's like getting your contact list and calling everybody. Because it's not a cold call. It's what we call a warm call. Because
Absolutely.
these people already know you.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's easy. They're not going to hang up on you like a cold. A cold call's a little scary, right? I get
Yeah.
it, right? They hang up on you. They don't like that. But a warm call is a phone call you make to people that you already know, even a little bit.
Right.
And you call them, and they're not going to hang up on you because they have some level of respect for you.
Yeah.
And you never know what business can come from that. And the question's not, are you looking to buy a house? Because usually they're not. It's very, it's, if you're interested, but let me know. But more importantly, what you want to get out of the conversation is, hey, Louis, if you have a cousin, a brother, if you know somebody that wants to sell a house, remember, I'm a realtor. I can help you out. And that's the net is casted much wider than are you looking to buy a house.
Beautiful, yeah. I always speak about this. It's the leverage, the reach that you get with just knowing people, right?
Yeah.
Because you could only do so much on your own. But if you have 1,000 friends in town, all these people are, hey, Anthony's my boy. He would actually, I know him.
Yeah.
I know him as a person.
Yeah.
I know he's extremely diligent, extremely
Exactly.
nice, extremely caring.
Yeah.
He has a strong why.
Yeah.
He will be the person to take care of my aunt or my boss or whoever. So
Exactly.
that's amazing, dude.
Exactly.
You got it down to a science.
Relationships,
yeah.
man.
I love it. Tell me, one of the things I always like to ask here in the podcast, because it helps the most people. This is like the section where we give additional, not value, because we've dropped bombs here today, but additional value. Mm-hmm. What is the best piece of advice you were ever given?
That's a good question. I'm going to share with you a quick story. So I mentioned I work for a school board member, and so that's also a separate story of how I got that position. Relationships.
Yeah.
Crazy. But nonetheless, I started working with Mr. Alonso when he was campaigning for school board. He's never been in politics before. He's a real estate guy also, and I connected with him, whatever, through my podcast, Mindset Podcast, and whatever. I ended up working during his campaign 2 summers ago. Again, 2 summers ago in Hialeah, because his area is Hialeah, Miami Lakes. And a lot of what I would do is knock on doors every single day in summer in Hialeah.
Wow.
For free. And that's a whole nother topic of working for free and the value of that.
Right,
that people are not willing to do, but I totally recommend it. Especially if you're young and you can afford it. If you can afford it, it's a great way. But anyway, there's so many stories we can be here all day, man.
So many tangents,
but
right?
Great story. So I'm with Robert. We're knocking on doors one day, trying to get people to vote for him. The elections are coming up, and we have this system that tells us which doors to knock on, people who are likely to vote and what their name is and their party registration. So a lot of information, public records. And so I come up, so Robert, we're in a neighborhood, Robert's maybe a block away knocking on a door. And I go ahead of him and I knock on another door, a couple houses down. And I didn't recognize the name on the list. And I knock on the door, and the person that opens the door is Robert's opponent.
Wow.
The person running currently at that time against Robert.
Wow.
And it caught me by surprise. And she started chewing me out. Because I'm wearing, Robert Alonso, Robert. And she started, not me personally, so I didn't take offense to it, but just the situation, saying bad things about Robert and this and that, kind of a little bit nasty, a little bit unfortunate. So it took me by surprise, because that was my first negative interaction ever. Everybody's house has been kind of nice and, okay, whatever.
Right.
And I was, it didn't feel good. And so whatever, that ended. I didn't entertain it. I I left it where it was. But then I go to Robert and I say, you'll never believe whose door I just knocked on. This lady who's running against you, and he knew who it was. And so I'm like, Robert, let's just get out of here. It's okay. But Robert did something there that I'll always remember. And it was not so much advice, but what he did that I'll always remember. He, to my surprise, I was encouraging him to, let's get out of here, right? I didn't want the confrontation. I don't like confrontation. But what Robert said is, no, let's go back and knock on her door. So I'm like, aquí se fumó la cosa. This is it. This is it right now. Let me take out the popcorn. And so Robert goes, knocks on her door again. The lady, surprised to see him, but nonetheless continues chewing him out. And Robert does something that I've never seen before. He takes the lower road. He said, or the higher road. I'm sorry. He takes the higher road, and he says, whatever the attack she's throwing at him, he's like, look, at the end of the day, we're neighbors. We're gonna see each other in Publix. Whoever wins, I'm here. Whatever you need. Just very. The vibe was very kind, very like service oriented, and I saw that, and it automatically brought that lady. It seated her because there was no confrontation. She was looking for confrontation and she couldn't find it. And so that was something that at that moment I'm like, wow, like that's it right there. Yeah. When people get like that, when people, in situations in life that are difficult, that are uncomfortable, what I learned from that, Alex, is that you have to confront it.
Right.
It would have been easy for Robert to be like, okay, let's get out of here and never come back. Let's run. But he went, he addressed the problem, super nice. And I was blown away.
Not only to face, if I heard you right, not only to face any adversity you might encounter, but also to always face it with grace, right? Because as a matter of fact, I have a person in my life that once told me that we would become a mirror for people, right? So people are cursing at us, and then what do? We mirror that
energy,
right? So we could choose to be a mirror or a reflection of who they are in two ways. We could just curse right back at them, or we could change the demeanor of the situation, and they will be reflected upon how we're treating them and change their whole demeanor.
I love that.
Choose. You have control over every situation.
Yeah,
that's 100%. A beautiful story, man.
It's great, man. It's
great
fantastic.
that he advocated for you.
Yeah, it was really cool. But yeah, knocking on doors in Hialeah, it's a mission. I saw a little bit of everything.
Tell me some of the stuff you do for fun.
So for fun, pickleball.
I saw you.
We saw each other at the pickleball courts.
And you're good at it too.
I'm all right. I dabble. So pickleball is fun. I love playing pickleball. It's I love sports, right? In high school, I played basketball, so I always grew up with that competitive spirit. Nice. And so pickleball has been something that's been really trendy recently, but I've been really practicing and taking it seriously, and it's been a lot of fun. Good cardio, and you build a community of pickleball. Oh, yeah,
for sure.
You go to Kendall, right? We play at Kendall, and you start recognizing people, and then giving some time. You go a couple times, you already have a couple friends that you didn't have before.
I went once, and I told Melissa, like, I'm a staple here now. I'm coming every time.
They opened up the new courts. They're open.
Oh, for real?
They're open.
Oh, because Dr. Cruz, I think he mentioned they were like available but reserved for a specific organization. I could
maybe at times, but now they're open. So awesome. Pickleball is what I enjoy doing for fun. I don't do too good of a job of this, but I'm trying to do it better this year, like reading, intentionally taking time to read and to reflect, because life can get busy and chaotic. So I want to start dedicating time just to relax, to chill a little bit.
Dude, it calms you down. I could attest to that.
It brings you down.
I really made it a goal of mine to become better at reading and just dedicating more time to it, and I think it's changed my life.
Yeah. What about you?
Calms you down. Expands your knowledge and your. For me, man, jiu-jitsu. I like jiu-jitsu. I love jiu-jitsu. I have a great time. I've been in fighting sports my whole life, I could say. I used to do Taekwondo in Cuba, like the kicking.
Yeah. Have you ever boxed?
Not strictly dedicated to boxing, but I did MMA for a while, so you could say that's part of it. Yeah. And I've been practicing jiu-jitsu now for I think 2 or 3 years, and just have a fun time, man. It's really, really fun when you get to choke someone out.
If you're the one choking them out, not being choked out. Yeah.
On the other side, you know what? Yeah. Look, this is fun. I just lost the chair. It's really fun. Aside from pickleball, what else? What else do you enjoy?
Yeah, I love pickleball. I love just working out in general. It's a great way for me to release any possible stress that I have going on,
Hell
just sort
yeah.
of to, like to realign myself. So working out, playing pickleball, just any kind of physical activity, I love it.
Beautiful.
I absolutely love it. Even if it's walking around my house, just getting outside, getting some fresh air, something simple like that, I really enjoy. And then just spending time with my family. I think for me, family's priority is number one, like for you.
Yeah.
And so being around family, being around good friends, and I think I've done a good enough job of throughout my young years of really filtering my friend group, my inner circle, which I think is phenomenal, and that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, that's another one.
But I've gotten to the point, at least now, where I'm very happy with my close group of friends.
Yeah,
They're good people, quality people. When we get together, we talk about ideas, not problems, not other people. We talk about ideas, and it's just fantastic, man. When you're around that environment, I mean, it's easy, it's fun, it's good. So just being around friends, just taking it easy, trying different things, right? Trying different things.
Man, I've gotten so much value here from you today.
It's been great.
If you could tell the audience now, just with a couple words, what's a good way for them to quickly transform their life?
Yeah, I think the best way, the easiest way to transform your life is a shift in mindset if you need it. And I know I certainly needed it, and I'm still shifting my mindset every day. It's a work in progress. But the understanding that if you look at your life like a book, and that you understand that you are the author of that book, it just puts into perspective what we're doing here on earth. Like every day we have to live with a sense of urgency, with passion. We have to. There's too many people walking around like tomorrow's guaranteed.
Oh no, it's not.
Tomorrow's not guaranteed. Like all I'm guaranteed is right now.
Right now.
I don't know what's gonna happen in 5 minutes or when and if I get home. I don't know. I just got to make the best out of every moment and to be present, because one day, my friends, your book is gonna close. One day your book is gonna close, and also what's true is that one day somebody's gonna pick up that book, your grandkids, your kids, and they're gonna open that book and they're gonna see what your life was about, the good, the bad, the ugly, and you want that book to be something you're proud of.
For sure.
Maybe it wasn't great, maybe it wasn't a success, but if you tried, if your book shows that you tried, you gave it everything you had, you were intentional, you were present in every moment, in every conversation, that's all we can ask for.
That's a beautiful legacy to have.
It's a legacy thing. It's a legacy thing, Alex. It's a legacy thing. It's not, too many people, we think about short term, instant gratification. The real game here, the real game is a legacy. For your kids to be proud of you, for your kids' kids to be proud of you, for your parents to be proud of you. That's what it's about, really.
I agree with you, man.
It's not about the money. It's a legacy. Money comes and goes, and when you die, it's over. But legacy lives forever.
Yeah, absolutely. I read recently that life is a game, and you're playing at the poker table, and you have all these chips with you. And at the end of the game, what do you always have to do? Before you cash out, you got to put them back into the
Put them back in, So, you can't leave with them.
Yeah, you can't take your house, you can't take your money.
Nothing.
All you take is, what you leave behind, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%.
Brother, it was an absolute pleasure meeting you and actually having this great conversation with you. I really, really appreciate you. How do we find you?
So on Instagram, Anthony Valenzuela. Very simple. LinkedIn too.
We'll put it right here.
Put it right over here. Anthony Valenzuela. I'm very active on LinkedIn, as you know, we both, and Instagram as well. But I'm very easily accessible. I'm very passionate, as you are, of like helping young people, especially on how to navigate through life, because it's hard. And I don't pretend to know all the answers, but at least I can share with you my story that maybe can help some young people out there. So if you're interested, I'm all in. I'm all in on this. But continue transforming lives, man. I love what you're doing.
Appreciate it, man.
I'm a big fan and honored to be on your show.
Thank you. All right, guys. See you in the next one. Cut.
I love it, man. That was incredible.
Thank you.
This is awesome.